I'm going to call the October 1st meeting of the Bucksport Planning Board to order. Roll call.
Steve Bishop.
Here.
Brian McDonald.
Here.
David Grant.
Present.
Steve Fight. Out. Ed Belcher.
Here.
George Hansen.
Here.
Jay Duras.
Here.
Review and acceptance of minutes from the September 3rd, 2019 meeting.
A motion to be accepted as drafted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Chair report.
Looking for an error, but I couldn't find that.
We want to spend a little more time?
That's
Oh, all right. Chair report, there is no report. Code enforcement officers report.
Couple of things, I guess. First was on May 7th, you guys approved a subdivision for, an amendment to a subdivision for Wardwell, John Wardwell. That
Yes.
subdivision never got a Mylar signed and turned into the registry of deeds within the 90 days. So, you guys have the option of redoing the entire thing, or since nothing has changed, you could make a motion and let that be approved again tonight, and there's some sign documents there for you to sign if you want to do that, but that's totally up to you.
Make a motion, we accept it and sign it.
Second.
Slow down.
Hold on. Hey, we'll talk about it.
Hey, I was first.
The applicant,
Hold on, Ed, wait 1 second. Let him catch up.
Go ahead.
All
Who
right.
seconded that?
Now we'll just,
okay,
Dave,
All right.
go ahead.
the applicant is in a medical facility in Portland.
I'm aware.
You're aware of it?
Oh, yes.
So,
But Sarah Nicholson is the agent designated to handle that from Woodman and Kern. She put together the application for you folks,
correct.
and she's the one that brought the drawings today when we told her that there's been an error and this hadn't been taken care of. So,
He's a developer. He's got his name and money in it.
and he's still doing it. His son is supposed to start construction soon if we approve it.
Why didn't we sign it that night?
She didn't, I wasn't here, but apparently she didn't bring the Mylar.
Yeah.
Jeff
Is that what
reminded
happened?
her that she had to bring it, and she forgot.
Okay.
You signed a paper copy that night, but you have to have both in order
Okay.
to register.
So, it was, so like I said, I wasn't here for some reason, and it was approved, and the paper copies were signed. So wherever the administrative error, that's really all it was an
Yeah.
administrative error.
Oh,
So
yeah. So John has given his approval to Sarah to continue with this.
He wants to start the
Or
project.
is he-
soon, yeah.
He hasn't transferred his legal signatory abilities or
He gave
anything like
her-
that.
He gave her
to his
power to
son?
act as his agent.
she was the agent during the
Okay.
the application
Okay.
process in the first place, I believe.
Yep. Let's sign it.
Okay, no? Fine.
Any
They want
other,
to get started. I mean, it's a little late in the season, but they can,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
they-
guess they've been busy. This is when they wanted to start. So.
any other discussion? All in favor? And I wasn't there, but I mean, so I'll just abstain from that, I guess I shouldn't raise my hand.
So I'll put 5-0 with one abstain. Okay, and just an update on the whole Oceans. They have not received their SLOTA permit yet, and the town council didn't meet this second meeting of the month. They canceled it, so they'll meet again on the 10th. So the fee schedule hasn't been finalized yet. That the 10th meeting should be the final reading and approval, so then Whole Oceans can pay the fee, and they expect to get the SLOTA permit right around that exact same time. There is the issue that's in the paper, like, will be tomorrow, that Emmerich Spooner has contacted them, and the Historic Preservation Group about his concerns on the different historic sites that are there. There's different trains of thought as to where those are on the property, and Whole Oceans has hired an archaeological expert, I guess, I'm not sure what the proper term is, but he's gonna do an investigation and turn his report over to the historical preservation group down in Augusta, and go from there. And if Whole Oceans has said that they'll, you know, if they need to move something or whatnot, then they will do that. So we'll see what happens.
Now, some of these areas were identified a number of years ago.
Yes,
And I
they-
believe they were,
Yes.
Whole Oceans knows where those
Right.
particular. Now, I don't know why, was it Eric Spooner?
Emmerich's.
Emmerich,
Yeah.
okay. I have no idea why he would have any further information on any more than what's already been done there. I have not
I
a
don't
clue,
know.
I mean.
I know he's an amateur researcher, and
Yeah,
he I know he cares, and
Well,
and
yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
And we all care. If there really is something there, we do want to preserve that.
Whole Oceans has stated that in their
Yes, absolutely.
book, so I.
There's some disagreement, I guess, between Emmerich and others about where these things are. So hopefully we can get to the bottom of that before any ground is broken, and hopefully we can make Emmerich happy that
I'll
what
tell you,
they've
the
done due
footprint of
diligence
these
to find
buildings, and what's being disturbed,
Yeah.
even in grading wise,
I know what you're going to say.
has already been disturbed
Except for
since
the
Except for
auxiliary,
the-
the auxiliary buildings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's a small building though.
And
so-
those are
It
out.
is, but I think that might be the area that Emmerich is
No, but
talking about.
the point is, if it's the smallest, I think, one of the smallest buildings, so they would easily be able to put that someplace else on the property.
I think those auxiliary buildings were on the backside
What do you
of their
think, of the
five-year plan
building,
anyway.
the building that's up on the back north entrance?
Yeah,
with the
Yeah, there
colors?
was, one of the last buildings they were gonna put
Yep.
up is area that has never been,
Well,
that we know of.
it's a ledge area.
It doesn't matter what's
Yeah.
there, but I mean, it could be,
And honestly, it's an accessory
it's
building.
auxiliary, so,
I
yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think they would care if they had to move that.
Right.
If
Oh,
something was
yeah.
found to be in that area, they'd just put it someplace else.
Right.
They don't care.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
those main big buildings which are all on the industrial site and not near
Right.
the,
Actually, the two big buildings are
Yeah.
down in the old woodyard.
Right.
That's been,
yeah, there's
Ravaged
nothing
for-
there, to my knowledge, there's nothing there. So, and those auxiliary buildings, those aren't on the agenda to be built for years to come.
Those are the last
So
One
buildings,
of
I think, yeah.
yeah.
So, there's plenty of time to, you know, for them to start their blasting and stuff where the first buildings are going and deal with that and so on. So, I mean, it's.
well, they're gonna be doing that right off the bat, you know.
Not
Once
the
that
auxiliary.
chimney's down.
Right, but not the
They can go-
auxiliary buildings. Those are also, what did they call them? Not
Oscillary?
auxiliary buildings?
Ancillary?
Ancillary.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The only thing that would be an issue would be if somehow that holds up the permit approval process.
Well, that would be a shame if a building I'm gonna build 10 years from now,
yeah.
Exactly.
and I'll put it wherever, you know, I'm told to put it.
The thing to
They-
remember is
you
that
know.
all we've approved so far is the land use. I'll have to issue building permits for each building as they come along. So there's plenty of time to still look at that area where those
Ancillary.
ancillary buildings
Yeah.
are located. And, you know, if that's an issue, then
Yeah.
we can find another spot, or we can help them find another
Yeah.
spot for it, so. Anyways, I'm just bringing you up to speed on what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna be in
Yeah.
the paper tomorrow,
Yeah.
and,
That's just a
that's
little,
where that's at.
that's not even a speed bump, that's just a little blip, I think, hopefully.
Well, you know.
Not to make
hopefully,
light of it,
I
I
mean,
mean, yeah.
if there's something there, then I hope they can find it and not have to play, you know, search for 5 years. Hopefully they
Yeah.
can find it.
And everybody can agree that whatever it is, this is it, and not have, like the political landscape today, I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
you have a
And
two-sided
I don't
coin,
think
that
that's
you have
what
three
Emmerich
different
wants
views.
either. He has stated that he supports Whole Oceans and wants to see them come. So if he's truthful on that, then I don't think he wants to hold things up either. He just wants to make sure they do due diligence, so. Anyway, I think that's all I had for tonight. I did the minutes, the findings of fact, which you've signed. I think we're all good there.
So at this time, I will open a limited public forum. It's a chance for the opportunity, it's an opportunity for the public to address the board on matters of land, related to land use or planning in the town of Bucksport, not on the agenda for this evening.
And so.
Would anyone like to speak? Please state your name.
James Morrison. I live out in Hueytown. Along the lines of what you were just discussing, who initially is responsible for seeing to it that something's not going to be built on a historic site or something that is of historical value? And because we have the wastewater treatment plant. My understanding is that at some point, sometime years ago, it was decided that that's where it was going to be built, and then they discovered that they were building it on top of a cemetery.
Yes, they
And-
did.
yeah.
They did dig up, I think, one grave. And they found out it was a Wardwell family. And
Yes, yeah, I
they-
understand.
we
But-
staked it off.
Yeah.
I was the inspector down there
Uh-huh.
when, for the town, when it was being built.
Yeah.
And we staked out that area where the 3 graves were.
Mhm.
And
But just,
the building is not on,
no,
and we
no,
didn't move it.
no,
And we scanned for more and didn't find anything.
yes, I understand, but my question is, who is responsible at the outset, before you people even see a plan, or even there's even any discussion about, isn't there someone that's responsible for checking that, to see if there is something on that site that may bring this kind of thing up later? I mean, it always seems to come up after the fact, you know? And this is a,
Main historic
this-
preservation.
and the
Yeah.
thing that you're discussing is an 1880s farm
That's one of the things.
that's up in that
Some of it goes
that
back to
corner
right
up there.
now, yeah.
And, you know, on Facebook, people are saying, well, everybody knew that was there, you know? Anybody that worked in the mill knew that up past that, up by the north gate, that farm was there.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I just curious as to how the process went, so that in the future, these kind of things won't happen to the planning board. You won't have people sitting there saying, well, I don't know, you know, it could be or it might not be, you know?
Well, the
Just-
Penobscot Indians in Old Town are involved with the site that they're saying is red paint people
Yes.
down here. And they've been one of the contacts for keeping an eye on that.
Mhm. Yeah. So they're just, it's just different people have different interests in different spots and different sites.
So
Well,
yeah, there is a state historical.
Yeah, and if
That
it's a
signs off.
documented site, then you would know, but when it's up in the air, nobody really knows exactly where it is, which is kind of the situation over here. You know, there's the notion that there could be a red paint cemetery somewhere there, but nobody really knows exactly where.
So we find out about this kind of thing when somebody digs up evidence.
I think
Sometimes.
unfortunately, sometimes I don't want to say have no other choice, but you can't know everything that happened in the past. I mean, like an old farm, and who knows who owned the farm before that family owned the farm. Maybe there was a cemetery here, or you know, one of my first houses was an old landfill. You couldn't plant a garden without coming up with $500-600 worth of antique bottles,
Yeah.
which was great, but who knows what we would have found there if we kept, you know, we kept digging. And I'm not trying to make
Okay.
light of your question.
No. I
But
just
especially in a
really,
rural area, I think
Yeah.
it would be really hard to know small family, larger groups and things, I think like the red paint people and some things might easily be known by the state society, but small little things, I think that would be impossible to know.
But from where we stand now, though, from what he just said about how whole oceans, it sounds like they're having it looked into. So you're talking about who's accepting responsibility for it now?
Oh, no, no.
It sounds like they're willing to have it looked into, and that's great of them.
Oh, yeah,
So,
now, they
that's-
own it now,
yeah.
so they've got to
Yeah.
do their due diligence, but I mean, at the outset, I mean, the piece of property has been there for a great length of time, and they're going to move on to it. Is there anything that takes place ahead of time? Is there any kind of research that takes place ahead of time before they actually purchase the property?
I mean, lawyers do
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
title
when-
fees. and-
Well, in our findings of fact, there's a section on there for anything, for that type of thing, and we could go through and see if that was that,
I don't think we found anything because we didn't know of anything, right?
let's see, was it local area it was,
Yeah, that's my point, so in effect,
We have a
it turns
letter,
out that until somebody bumps into a bone sticking up out of the ground, you don't know if there's something there.
we had a letter from the Maine Historic Preservation Group saying that
environmental
that
standards.
they didn't find anything
Maybe it was
there
that.
in the area where they were
Little
gonna develop.
clay, yeah, it was
Special
And they had
Special
some
area standards,
documentation
right
in
here,
their
right.
application that
two
said
areas
there
of
was
historical
two
influence
sites
were
located,
identified and
but
proposed
they weren't
in the
their
developed
where they
area. It
were
was
gonna
noted the
develop.
applicant
Yeah, I
had stated
understood
anything is
from
found during
from
excavation.
the article that I just read before I came out here, that, yeah, that the case is that they may have to move their building a little bit,
Maybe.
So in part of the finding of fact and part of the review for the application process that they had already done the research on when they came to us, in the special area standards, it was noted that there were already 2 areas of historical importance that were identified in the proposed developed area. And it was also noted that if the applicant has found anything during excavation, they will address it in the proper way at that time.
But for
So-
projects in general, I don't know how you would find an answer to, you could build a small little project like some of the stuff that's gone over in the Heritage Park,
Right.
and all of a sudden you hit something in the ground and you don't know what it is.
It's not like I can look on Google.
Yeah,
Earth.
Right.
yeah, it's an expected.
So I don't know how you,
When you,
in
Most
that
contracts-
packet, though, that was well prepared, and they had been, in the minutes, it's just a brief summary, but they had done the research about what they could find for that property already in advance anyway.
yeah, so as a planning board, you just accept that there may be an unknown. That's part of,
Right, you know.
And they
Just-
can spray
it
oil,
happens.
too.
I mean-
Right.
This is-
Whatever set of plans is put out.
Yeah.
What is shown on the plans is not deemed to be accurate. If it's a utility line or anything, it is their best guesstimate. And you have to live with the fact that what you see there may not exactly be true. So surprise, surprise.
Right,
But you can't do anything about it because it is a surprise. Doesn't mean that somebody's at fault for not recognizing it.
oh, no, I really wasn't alluding to anybody being at fault. I just was wondering if
No.
there was a
and
particular.
you know, if you remember back, you'll see on some of the paperwork, land now or formerly of. And really, I guess it's for I would think the public has to help with that. If you hear that Walmart wants to go in, on land that, your family used to own, and you say, hey, wait a second, there's something right here. I don't think there's any one entity that would know all of that small minor stuff.
Right, yeah.
Just public,
Well, thanks, guys.
especially social networking today, like you said, Facebook.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that's where you find your answers, but
Yeah. Well, thanks, I was just curious.
Thanks for bringing it up.
do you want to say something else, Eddie?
Most contractors are trained to put the bucket down if they find something.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah, and you make a call.
Yeah. Call him or, they know who to call.
Anything else? All right,
Curious about that.
I will close the limited public forum. Unfinished business, we have none.
Would that be the signing of the
Yeah.
Mylars?
Yeah, we can do that now, we do it at the end of the meeting, or we've already voted to do it, so.
Up to you guys.
Let's get her over,
You're the boss.
you think?
Well, I'm not gonna sign it, so I'm gonna say we'll do it when the meeting's finished.
Okay.
There you go.
There. New business, we have none. Administrative business. Anything?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
You're getting paid?
Not to my knowledge.
So that brings us to discussion. Anything that anybody likes to bring up?
How are you doing, Luke? Do you need anything from us with your new position?
Yes. Email addresses. It seems silly to be, unless you guys don't have it, for me to be mailing out agendas and minutes when I could just send you a PDF.
Let's use our paper. If I had one, I'd give it to you.
Okay. But
Yeah,
even
that's
if,
fine with
even
me.
if I
I
could
used
send
to
it
have
to
one
most of
active,
y'all,
but I don't have a computer anymore.
you know, that's postage and paper and everything saved and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
obviously if it's something big like that whole oceans packet,
Right.
so that's different, but when it's something like this, where it was
I
not much going on.
I know someone that was on the board not too long ago, was after that very thing, and he wanted the town to provide us with email addresses. Because of like Freedom of Information Act, if you use a private email for that, I think people would have the ability to get your emails. I don't have a problem, because I'm gonna give you my work email, but,
I'll ask
and that's
about
all
that
ready.
before we do it.
These are public proceedings, so I don't see.
Well, I can tell you, I believe that is an issue. If you use a private email,
I think you have a point, especially if we were having any type of discussions. But if it's simply the minutes and the agendas.
and that's
which are
fine,
also
I know what was brought up before.
I'll ask about it, I'll ask about it.
But it is fine, I mean, it certainly saves paper and stamps and.
Oh, yeah.
so.
Only thing you need from us with your new position, let us know.
Police protection.
There you go.
I'll get right on that in about an hour.
All the way around when you need it.
Yeah.
Anything else? Hearing nothing,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all in favor?